I have indicated many of the specific programs and activities of government that contribute to our growth and social development objectives. Allow me to summarize the framework within which these allocations are made. The 2013 budget provides for continued real growth in spending to support service delivery and to expand investment in infrastructure. It will also accommodate the costs of the 3-year public service wage agreement signed last year. In the past, we have been able to add substantially to medium-term spending plans during the budget, but this year is different. Money has been taken away from certain programs that are not performing or not aligned to government's core priorities and given to programs that are delivering as planned. The main appropriation provides for 1,055 billion rands in expenditure next year, rising to 1.2 trillion rands in 2015-16. Debt service costs, that is the interest that we pay on our debt, will come to 100 billion rands next year, and 4 billion rands is set aside as a contingency reserve. This leaves 951 billion rands to be divided between national, provincial, and local spheres. National departments are allocated 47.6% of available funds in 2013-14. Provinces are allocated 43.5%, mainly for education, health, and social welfare. Local government receives 8.9%, primarily for providing basic services to low-income households. Allocations from the contingency reserve will be made later in the year, mainly for unforeseeable and unavoidable expenditure. Work is in progress to determine funding requirements for reconstruction and rehabilitation following flood damages in Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. An allocation will be made in the adjustments appropriation for Dinaledi School's connectivity program and other broadband infrastructure projects subject to finalization of implementation plans. The equitable division of revenue between provinces and municipalities takes into account the 2011 census, which shows that substantial shifts in distribution and age structure of the population since 2001. The changes to provincial and municipal allocations will be phased in over a period of time to avoid disruption of services. The provincial equitable share amounts to 338 billion rands in 13-14, and conditional grants to provinces will total 77 billion rands. Additional allocations have been made to increase employment of social workers and to provide additional support to non-governmental organizations which provide critical welfare services. There's additional funding for teachers in the poorest 20% of schools and grade R classes and for the community library services. Provinces are also funded for an expansion in HIV and AIDS programs and an improved TB diagnosis system. Infrastructure transfers to provinces have increased sharply in recent years, growing from 4.8 billion rands in 05-06 to 39.7 billion rands in 12-13. To improve the quality of spending, the application process for infrastructure grants is being revised. Provinces will be required to submit building plans 2 years ahead of implementation and will only receive allocations if plans meet certain benchmarks. A total of 85 billion rands is allocated for transfer to municipalities in 13-14, rising to 101 billion rands in 15-16. Additional allocations are made for municipal water infrastructure, public transport, and integrated city development.